Hi, this is Larry. I'm just going to show you today how to create your first app for the ITDEV110 class, Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming. This is a simple application that's just going to be utilizing display as far as having something output on display. It will be used in two classes, so therefore we will create another class and make an object to call that class. Won't go into a lot of detail about how this all works. Just please look at what I do, follow the directions, and then be able to create your own app and submit it for assignment 1. To start, you go over to wherever you have Visual Studio, over in the Starting button, and Visual Studio should appear. In your Start button down here, if you haven't used it before, it'll be down here. It's this one that says Visual Studio. It's a purple little icon. Click on that. It'll take a little bit for Visual Studio to start. Now, how to start a new project? You can do it easy, simple as right from the start page here. Just click the New Project. Click New Project. And what we're doing is creating a project that's going to have, a project ends up being a folder, if you want to think about it, that contains all the files. And there's a lot more to the project than just the files that you create. So this ends up being a container that holds all of them. When you create this new project, look at the new project window. At the very top here, you want to make sure that it says .NET Framework 4.5. .NET Framework 4.5. Okay? This is the framework that you need to build. All the applications for the ITDEV110 class need to be in the .NET Framework 4.5. Next, you're going to go down and make sure you have a C# Visual C# console application. If you are not using Visual C, so it doesn't say anywhere on here Visual C#, you need to go over to the templates and pick it. If your application is in a different language, just come over and you can select different languages if you don't find Visual C#. So you want the .NET Framework 4.5 C# console application. All our applications for ITDEV110 will be made with a console. Next, you want to go down and take the name and change the name of the application and the solution name of the project here to being as required in the assignment. All the assignments will require you for ITDEV110 to basically have use your your last name first. That's my last name, and then whatever the name of the assignment they're giving you is instructed. In this case, it's going to be my first app. Okay, so put your last name and my first app. Next, you want to go down to the next location here. It says the location is. This should be wherever you want to store your files, basically for the projects. In many cases, if you're doing this at school, you're going to be doing it with a flash drive. If it's on your own laptop, make sure you know where it's going and that it's consistent and you can find all your projects. You can go over here and browse to find a location if it's not set to where you want it to be. Okay? So basically, make sure the .NET Framework, C#, Visual C# console application, the name is set correctly, and then also the location is where you can find it again. Then simply click the OK button, and voila, you have the basis of your first class. The first class will always have included a method called main because it needs to start from someplace. If you notice, this class is called program. This is program.cs. .cs means it's a C# file. One of the first things you're going to do is you're going to change the name of this program or rename it. Simply go down, right click on it, hit rename, and you're going to change it to being what we're calling this one my first app. Basically, all the programs that you create for the first class that has the main in it, you want to end the name of the app to be app, because it's the home, basically the core class that starts and stops everything. So you just hit enter, and that will be in there. This is remaining naming files, yes, make yes, say yes. So if you notice here, I've changed it over on the right here to a Solution Explorer. It's called my first app. Then also over here, it's the file name, my first app. Also notice I changed the class name to my first app. What you're going to see here is this is an example of a class. All your classes will have a document at the top or using. These are linked to libraries using. We'll go into more detail about that another time in class. These are the using classes. And then up here you're going to have namespace. Namespace is like a big container again for which all the classes that you're going to be using in your application reside within. So that's like a big folder. And then the next will be coming the class itself with its name. Inside the class are going to be different methods that you will create. By default, the first class automatically always has a main in it. This main is what is used to start and stop the application. If you notice here that underneath each one of these are brackets. See these brackets? Okay. So if you notice, namespace has a bracket, a start. This is called the starting bracket. This is the ending bracket. Inside of that bracket space is the first class, and the class has a bracket, and this has a bracket. And then the method itself has a bracket and another bracket. And this means that basically everything inside a namespace is contained for this class is contained inside here, such as the class, and then everything that's going to be just for this method will be inside of there. It's a structure. These definitions are able to pinpoint and identify what your structure is. Since we're going to be creating an object-oriented program, we need to create another class that will then create an object from that will then be used by this app. So to create a new class, go up to Project up at the top in the menu bar, click on it to get a pull-down menu, then simply go over where it says Add Class. Click on that, and then it's going to ask you what kind of class, what do you want. Just say C#, Visual C# class. Okay, and then down below here at the bottom, see where it's highlighted? You want to change the name to the name of the class, just like we changed the name before of the other class to My First App. In this class, for the first assignment, for assignment 1, I'd like you to name this class World, capital W-O-R-L-D, World, down here, World. So make sure you have the C# class, Visual C# class, selected up above, and down below it says World. And then you simply want to hit the Add button. So now we have a World class, and as you can see here, we have the same linked libraries at the top as the default that appear when you create new apps in Visual Studio. We have the namespace the same as was called My First App, because everything is going to be in the same folder, My First App. And then we have the class name World. First thing we want to do is create a new method that will contain, so we can do some processing with it. And that's what methods do, methods process. So inside a class World here, I just simply clicked down or return, and it automatically put me indented here. What we want to do now is then create a new method. And this time we're just going to type in public space, and then, didn't spell it right, public space, and then we're going to put in the name of the method. In this case, we're going to call this method here World, just the same as the name as the class. Then we're going to put two parentheses afterwards. Not going to put anything after it right now. What I'm going to do is then hit enter, and then you're going to put in a bracket, hit enter again, space down again, and put another bracket in here. So what I did is I allowed some room here. So this is a method. A method is usually delimited. You can tell it's a method because it has two parentheses afterwards. Okay, and inside these parentheses, and we'll go into detail some other time. We'll be talking more about what this means. But what we want to do now is inside these brackets actually put in commands that we'll be using. So what we want to do is display something on the screen. And we're going to, basically, that's what the console does. The console is where the display is. It doesn't use any graphics. It's just going to be black and white. It's going to be very simple for this first semester. So we're going to type in console. Console dot, and that's a class in one of the linked libraries. We're going to type in WriteLine, W-R-I-T-E, capital L-I-N-E, all one word. Then we're going to put in, because it's a method, you're going to put a parentheses, and then you're going to put what you want to have typed out. In this case, we simply want to put, after putting the quotation mark, hello world. It will basically display anything that's inside these quotation marks. Now it's saying we need something expected here. Notice it's very intelligent as you go through this. So basically what we're going to say is hit the another parentheses, and then in this case, since it's a statement we're making, what we want to do is just print out on the screen hello world. We end this as a statement with a semicolon. So what WriteLine does is allow whatever you put inside of here will be displayed on the screen. So you're writing to this, you're writing to the console display. Now we have to put another console command in here. So we're going to call this one console, using console, but it's a different method, and this one is called read key. And what this does is read key is be able to say what other input that the user clicks on would be accepted. And the reason why we do this, you know, it's a statement ending with a semicolon. Everything must end in semicolons when you're writing these statements. The console WriteLine says we'll display this on the screen, and console read key is waiting for the user to click a screen. The reason why we do this is because if we don't put that read key in there, hello world will flash up and go away, and you won't even know the app is running. So it'll flash on the screen. You'll see when we get this played is it has flash hello world, and it's waiting for then the user to click any key to end it. So simply here is you created your first little app that actually a class that will actually display out the words hello world, and then console will then wait for a command, somebody hit a key, and then it ends the app and it's done. Now the thing is it can't run until we have my first app or something in the main to trigger that it needs to use this class. So what we're going to do is go back to my first app. I'll click on the top here, my first app, and then we're going to go down in here, and I'm going to space down and write what I need to write in here. So what we need to do now is for my first app here, from main, we need to make sure we use what's in the world class. So the first thing we're going to do is create an object. Well, what we're going to do here is create an object called hello. So first we're going to identify we want to use the world class, type world, space, and then I'm going to call it, the name is hello. So the object will be called hello. And then we're going to space, and so what we've done is basically say, okay, this is the class we're going to use. We're going to create an object created from the class called hello, and we need to create it, and we know we need to create it, and so it needs a method to create it. And the method that we have inside a world that we just created, it was called public world, if you remember. That is the constructor app. It's actually a constructor method. It's a constructor method, which we'll talk about all this in more detail throughout the semester. So as we look at this, we'll go hello, and then we'll go equal, and so we're going to say new, and we're going to use call that method we have inside the app, world parentheses, excuse me, and then we're going to put a semicolon. So what we've simply done here is say we're using the world class, creating an object of it called hello, and we want a new one. We're going to create a new object, and this new object is you're going to use the world method to construct this object. This has a lot to do beyond what we're talking about right here. We'll go into more detail about object-oriented and different how it works. But understand this is setting this all up in the memory so that the CPU can actually find it and use it. So we got hello, world. The hello is the name of the object we're creating, and we're creating a new world. Kind of like if this is your first app in object-oriented programming, it's a whole new world for you. So what we're going to do now is we have to compile it. It just doesn't run until you actually compile it. So there's different ways to do this. The simplest way to do this is to go and hit the start button. And you'll watch on the bottom, it'll start flashing around some elements of the screen, and if there were errors. So let's hit the start button. You see it's going through compiling, and it did it successfully. And there's our hello world displayed out on the console. Now I hit return, any key, and it goes back. If you see down at the bottom here, it shows the different, how the it was being used, how the CPU gave feedback to it. Now let's make a mistake in here. Let's say we didn't put something in and had a problem. And so I'm going to simply go back in here and hit the semicolon and delete it. So I'd have hello world equals new world, and it has the two different parentheses. But I took away the semicolon, so that's an error. It even says here, expected that. And it shows a little tilde or a little symbol down here showing that, hey, there's something wrong here in red. Now watch what happens when I hit the start button. It's going to say there were build errors, meaning the compiling process didn't work, and just say no to it. And then it's going to give you the different, what's the problem. It says it's looking for expected. It shows what line number, what column, what class it's in. Oh, we go and we say, okay, it's in my first tab, it's line 13. We'll talk about setting line numbers another time. We just go and basically hit the semicolon, and voila, it'll work again. Notice the bottom, it goes away. Hit start, it runs. You have now just created your very first object-oriented application.